Let's start by taking a look at this screen capture here. Those numbers, basically at the top there you have the number of requests that were satisfied that they talked about. So at this time, El Capitan had 20,479 requests that were made by 1,573 students. So 98.36% of our requests were satisfied. But of that, only 89.57% of the schedules were complete. So that means that almost all the requests were satisfied, but maybe a kid here or there only got 5 of the 6 classes or 6 of the 7 classes that he or she requested. There's a lot that this program can do. Now, when we were getting trained, we got trained on a lot of the bells and whistles of the program, and a lot of us went in and actually tried to do those bells and whistles. We didn't have all the understanding of the intricate details. So today, all I want to present to you is kind of an overview of some of the tools within Infinite Campus that Jake and Joel have already talked about, and how you can get them out, how you get a schedule from those without getting into too much detail. I'm going to sign into the sandbox. If you're ever playing, you always want to be in the sandbox here. The first thing I want to talk about is the MyApp, which, as Jake said, stands for Multi-Year Academic Planning. And this is how the schedule gets going. Building a schedule is still based on student requests. And so we need to somehow gather those requests. And those requests are gathered in the past in laundry sheets, and they still are. But it all begins in MyApp. Now, the students, in order to get to MyApp, the students go in through the student portal. And that's how they access it. And some schools dealt with it differently. Some schools said, hey, it's open. Students, you got to go get it. And they advertised it, put it out there. Get in there and learn how to do it. Other schools opened it up and said, don't tell anybody it's open yet. We don't want the students going in there yet. Other schools, and what we did at El Capitan is we opened it up, put it out there a little bit, and then met with each student and went over the MyApp from the back end, from our end with the student, and treated it as a learning or an educational situation for the student. So, because it's a transition year. So I'm going to show you how to get to MyApp from the back end. This is how the counselors got there. Notice over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to go up here to student information. I'm going to go into the counseling, and you see here where it says academic planning. I'm going to pick a student at random. Now the student, maybe depending on your situation, in our situation, the student is in front of us. So Miss Smith, I'm going to search for student. First of all, what am I going to do up here first of all? If I want to be in El Capitan, what am I going to do? Better get in my calendar, right? Which calendar over here do I want to be in? Yeah, the main one, right? Let me try that search again. There she is. So I'm going to go to Elizabeth Smith. She's now in front of me. Got our program. This person is a diploma program, A through G bound, hopefully. Grad progress, all the red and green can be, there's some very good stuff here. We're going to go to course plan. This is the screen that Joel and Jake had presented earlier. Somebody mentioned the parent signature on the laundry sheet. There is a button on here. It's approved by parent or legal guardian. It is right there. You see it there. So this student here, Elizabeth, you see here she has, we'll just do English as an example. She got her English 1C, 2C, 10 out of 10 credits there, her freshman year. Her sophomore year, English 3C, 4C. And her junior, English 5C, 6C. So most likely when she's going in, she knows that she's going to be taking English 7C, 8C, right? And this is where we were a little concerned, because we had to do some tweaking and some changing, because in the beginning, when the student went over here to look at their drop-down menu of the possible courses, you don't see social science, English, math, electives, everything there in front of you. It's like it's one at a time, so you don't see that big picture, which is why it was a little bit tougher for some of the students to get in there and do it. But look at her choices. I would offer that she may go ahead and choose English 7 and call it a day, potentially, which would mean on the back end, GIS, counselors, or whoever's doing it would have to go and do some cleanup, right? Now, we know she doesn't need English 7. We know that that's not the course that she's going to be going into. She's going to be going into English 7C, which is right here. And choose it. Notice the other options here too. There we go. Notice that it puts it at 10 out of 10 credits, so it automatically makes a request for 7C, 8C. And we haven't quite hit the button, as you guys said, to put the request into Walkin Scheduler yet. Now it's just in MyApp. It's the laundry sheet. Who can lock it? Student can't lock it, right? The counselors, or we lock it through the back end, so the student will not see the lock here. So once we lock it, and once we have all the students, all their requests have been entered into MyApp, at some point we call ETS or have them push a button and say, can you please transfer all those requests into Walkin Scheduler as requests. Not schedules yet, because we haven't built the schedule yet. They're requests. I'm going to go back to the index, and I'm going to show you the next piece is the Walkin Scheduler. I'm going to go back to the index here. Remember, this is the counseling part. If I simply click on the general, because I want to go to the general things, which many of you who have searched student schedules, you're in the general student information screen, as opposed to the specific guidance one. There's the summary student that many of you have seen, right? This is her demographic summary. Let's go to schedule there. Sometimes they'll move around on you where they're at in the menu a little bit. You gotta find them sometimes. There's the schedule. What I want to look at is something called the Walkin Scheduler, which we feel, talking to counselors and amongst ourselves, there are a bunch of really good tools in Infinite Campus. So we're going to go to Walkin Scheduler. It's a great tool, that instant scheduling piece that counseling loves, that VPs we've used, moving kids around, right? Let's click on Walkin Scheduler. There are those requests. Now, before we build this is for this year. I'm using this year's information. So this schedule is our built. This would not be here yet, right? Because we went from MyApp, we have our requests. The requests they get loaded into Walkin Scheduler as requests. So right now they are simply requests. A schedule has not been made yet, right? One thing we found early on in the process is that 14 out of 14 requests was very important. Why would 14 be important? You got 7 periods to work with. There are 14 slots. There are more than that. They get created with athletics and other things that you see down here. But basically, there are 14 slots to fill up. 7 periods semester 1, 7 periods semester 2. So if you have a kid that only has 12 requests, because maybe he or she doesn't want a 7th period class, and you don't schedule in this no class period 7 as a class, then Mary, that student gap schedule is going to show this kid's got a gap in her schedule, period 7, both semester 1 and semester 2. So we found that out early in the process, and it really helped us to get them complete. One tool I want to show you within this was really neat is how do you add a request. You see, for example, Elizabeth, she has AP US History here, period 6. Let's just say that she wants to get out of that. She wants to be in, eventually we talk to the counselor, she wants to get out of that. This is kind of a side note. Not by building a master schedule, it's about changing it once you have the schedule made. Remember, this piece is not here yet. But say it is. I know it's SO73 is the number for US History. I'll save that request. Boom. What happened to the number of requests now? It's up to 15 now, right? This might be after they're in here. The nice thing is, it's populated right here. It's here. Now we want to add it to her schedule. I'm going to click on the @ sign there. And this is what the counselors are. I promise I might show you guys this just because they labeled this. And here, see where it's offered over here on the other side over here? See the colors here where it's offered? It's green. That means it's, except period 5 is a section at 40. It's not available there. Remember, as a caveat, this is when the schedules have all been created. So the nice thing is, and I'd like to put, maybe we can put it down here in period 6 and just stick it right in there because the 37 there, and then we go from there. That's Walkin Scheduler. So at this point, we have requests sitting here, right? Now it's time to go into Schedule Wizard. And I want to show you guys how to log in to the Schedule Wizard. Let's go down here. It's under Scheduling, and it's under Schedule Wizard, right? And it's a Java run program, so we have to launch it using Java. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the program here. So it looks different on PCs and not as a Macs, but basically I'm going to save it here. It downloads the Java. It's down here. See down there where it is? I'm going to click there. Gives me a dialog box to open it or run it. I want to run it now. And you get to this point, again, use your regular Infinite Campus login credentials. There we have them. These are all the schedules here of all the schools. all the working things, the trials, the things they're working on. I'm going to use El Capitans, and I'm going to open it up here. And it's hard to see it there, but you have these are all the schedules from all the previous years that have been, they looked at. And then we're going to go down here. Notice the bolded ones. The bolded ones are the ones that are active, the ones that are current. And we're going to ECHS the regular one. And I'm going to expand these. Notice here that says rolled in, do not touch. A lot of discussion about the automatic build versus the manual build. There are building constraints or building rules. Put all your things on the whiteboard, and then there are loading rules when you're actually going to load the students into the schedule that you've already built. We understood it as, hey, you've got these rules you need to use to build the schedule, and you've got these rules you need to use to load the kids into the schedule. Hence, in our minds, I think most of us kind of try to differentiate between building rules and loading rules. But then, so when we went in to do the building rules, for example, Mrs. Whitaker, she can teach, so a building rule might be Mrs. Whitaker can teach up to 3 periods of English 1C and up to 2 periods of AP English Literature. When you build the schedule Infinite Campus, which is going to use logarithms and other things, it's not going to use any discussion with department chairs about daycare or about where you want your prep period or that kind of thing. So it's going to build the perfect schedule before loading. These are building rules. But Ms. Whitaker is going to have her prep period. It can be any period. And by the way, other rule is she'll be in room 100 or room 200 or just room 100, whatever. You had to create those rules, those building constraints to tell the system how to build the schedule. And what we found was it was a bit cumbersome to come up with a rule for everybody, and just the culture of saying, hey, English department, this thing's going to build the perfect schedule, and it doesn't really matter where Ms. Whitaker wants her AP Literature class, or she's even going to get both classes of AP Literature, that kind of thing. And then it got a little more cumbersome because Mr. Smith, he's our CIS coordinator, so he can't teach these periods. We want those CIS periods to be together because we want him to be back 3 hours to do his thing. Oh, and by the way, he's our athletic director too, so he can't teach there. He has one class of science, which can be only period 1 in room 300. That is kind of our thought process. And I know that some of us tried to do the building rules. Most of us eventually went to the manual build. So you see here where it says rolled in. Get down here to the active trial, the bolded one here. Let's open it. Now, right now you see it's already locked because this is our schedule right now. So once they have all been loaded, go ahead and lock those things, and then we'll make some changes within Walkin Scheduler later. In my earlier simulation that you saw, I was at 89.57%, whatever. So that means we had 11% or 10.43% of our schedules that had to be messed with. Not bad. Amongst our JS and council, they only had to mess with and change around, theoretically, those about 150 schedules. So I'm going to unlock it now. It's going to wreak some havoc with the numbers because of some course numbers haven't been changed, and this is based on this year, so the numbers will be a little bit different. I'm going to unlock term 1. It's going to tell me relax. It's going to don't do it. But obviously we're in the sandbox, so we're cool. Right? Let's open it up. This is it. This is the chalkboard. It does look similar to the whiteboards that we have in our offices. I want to begin by showing you the landscape of this thing. On this left-hand side here, now there are different views that we can do. One view is a teacher view along the y-axis here. And then the period view is along the x-axis here. This teacher here doesn't teach period 1, 2, but teaches period 3, 4, and 5. We also can do it by courses, which I had earlier. These are all the courses here. And they're alphabetical order by the department name. So I've got agriculture here, art here, business, English here, etc. So there's a different view that you can use here. And now I've got courses along the y-axis along with periods along the y-axis here. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to show you this one here. One way to see how many classes you have each semester. Let's go down to art, for example. I've got one here. This was for me, this was an easier way to add courses. Jason, Aaron, you guys. So I simply go over here, and I see I've got an art class, period 2. It's only got 20 kids. I happen to know that's a special ed class. I'm going to delete that one right now. Simply click on it, delete it. It's gone. Right? I can drag over from there and create courses this way here. And put it here, put it there, and I'm going to show you that. I'm going to drag it back over here, take it off.